Good morning. This is Jack from Charting the Markets, and this is the pre-market webinar for the morning of Wednesday, the 17th of June. My disclaimer, I do this for educational purposes only. I'm here to share my technical analysis with you. I hope you can take some of what I'm doing and learn from a transfer of trend charts, and I'm not here to show trading signals. This is a video for paying subscribers at chartingthemarkets.substack.com. It's published on YouTube after a delay of 24 hours. All right, great. Let's have a look at ES, where I think we are forming a bull flag, setting up a retest of high. Obviously, we failed the head and shoulders. That head and shoulders has a target at a retest of the all-time high, and we haven't made that target yet on both NQ and ES, and I'm expecting to make it on both. Initially, we had a little level bottom here. That's made target. This looks like a bull flag forming. I'm wondering about a possible backtest of the daily middle band, but I'll come to that on the RTO charts. NQ, again, I'm wondering about a flag forming. If this is a flag forming, this looks like A, B. I'm thinking we might see a bit more downside first, and then see a move up, ideally, to make the all-time high tomorrow, although tomorrow is actually the last day of the trading week, of course. In terms of next week, I was mentioning this on the big picture, but I just want to mention next week's pretty neutral to slightly bearish. We're neutral on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, and we've got a bearish day on Wednesday. So we shall see how that goes. But ideally, I would like to see the new all-time high made on Thursday this week or on Monday next week. All right, in terms of NQ, we had a sell signal yesterday morning that made target. RTY, we had a weak 6-minute sell signal that's reached possible near miss target. YM, we didn't get a signal, and obviously we're up at new highs. We had the head and shoulders fail here. We already made the new all-time high there. We've already made that on RTY as well. DAX, we're still waiting, and I'm thinking we may well see a retest of the all-time high. ESTX has already done that. We had a weak 6-minute sell signal there yesterday, and that hasn't made the possible near miss target yet, but still might. And Nikkei, we've already gone back to the high. 6-minute sell signal hasn't made target on that either. This mainly because, of course, this hasn't really moved much off the highs, which is the same reason with ESTX. All right, let's have a look at the bigger picture charts on those, and I'm wondering about a possible test. I'm wondering about a possible test of the back test of the daily middle band. I've got that on SPX at 7478, and I've got that on ES at 7554. So I'm thinking we might see a full back test of that, and I don't think the flag necessarily is complete, looking particularly at the Qs. Looking at the hourly charts, we had an hourly RSI 14 buy signal. That made target. Looks like a little flag forming. No current divergence on the 15-minute charts. In terms of the Qs, I'm wondering about a back test of the daily middle band there too. I've got that at 724, and we will see how that goes. The RSI 5 buy signal that fixed on the daily chart has reached a possible near miss target. On the Qs, the RSI 14 buy signal on the hourly chart has made the full target now, and I think, yeah, we don't have any divergence on the 15-minute RSI 14, but we've got an RSI 5 buy signal fixed on the RSI 5 on the 15-minute. I think this is probably a bull flag forming, and I think we're probably going to see a retest of the all-time highs after that. There is a possibility that I was mentioning on the bigger picture webinar as well, which is that we're looking at a flag forming here, and this would be A, and this would be B, and this would be C. If we see a sustained break below the daily middle band, I will start taking that seriously. Until then, I'm thinking that we are likely going to be heading back to the retest of the high very shortly, likely starting today. In terms of Dia, we're nowhere near a middle band test. We're not close to the 3SD upper band as well, but we have made new all-time highs. We're slightly over the obvious trendline resistance here. This has really been a lot stronger than the others, and we've got an hourly RSI 5 sell signal fixed. No current divergence on the 15-minute chart, but you can see we're slightly over the ideal trend line there. In terms of the IWM chart, we've still got RSI 14 sell signals fixed basically on all of these indices across the board. We have made a new all-time high here. We're over the obvious trendline resistance. On the hourly chart, no current divergence. I've got a possible trend line here, which I'm wondering if we're heading forward to the 300 to 301 area. On the 15-minute chart, no current divergence. But in terms of this lesser lesser rising wedge from the late March low, we are slightly over the obvious resistance for it. In terms of DAX, nice break over the daily middle band and confirmation over the daily middle band. Might see a back test, but I'm leaning towards seeing a retest of the all-time high. Nikkei, we've already seen the retest of the all-time high. All right, let's have a look at DX, where we've not really made any progress towards this double top target. Now, I was thinking that we'd probably make the double top target while oil was heading down, but I think that oil's still bottoming out. It might make a lower low, but that pretty much looks done and dusted. So I'm thinking that as oil rallies, we may well head back up to retest the high. The other thing to mention is that while we have a deal on the Iran thing, it's far from certain what's going to happen with oil, and it's far from certain what's going to happen with the deal itself. Israel is particularly looking extremely uncooperative over Lebanon, and there's any number of things which could derail talks over the next few weeks. And of course, the Strait of Hormuz is not yet open. It is opening and should be open in theory fairly quickly after the memorandum of understanding is signed on Friday, assuming that it is. In the meantime, I'm thinking we may well this double top may fail, and we may head back up into the retest of the high. Not seeing a lot on the other currencies really. So USD JPY made the first double bottom target, but I'm still expecting to see a retest of this high here in the 160.70 area. USD CAD, I'm watching this potential overthrowing rising megaphone, which is actually pretty nice. But we will see how that goes. Really, this is only likely to happen if we see a big move down in DX, which we're not seeing yet. Australian dollar, nice looking head and shoulders broken down. This looks like a rally within that at the moment, and NZ looks like a rally within that at the moment. And not a particularly strong rally because this double bottom that has broken up has been doing absolutely nothing since it did so. So we shall see. All right, looking at ZB and ZN, we're at a big inflection point here. We've got a inverted head and shoulders which has broken up on TLT. We've got a head and shoulders which has broken down on TYX. This is the inflection point where we decide what's going to happen there. This is a very nice looking nested double top, and if this breaks down, then the head and shoulders fail and we head back to the retest of the lows here on ZB. If we break up, this could go considerably higher. On ZN, not quite the same setup. We've got the little level top here. We shall see how that goes. But again, big inflection point. Looking at coil, we've now got a 60-minute buy signal fix on Brent, on WTIC, on heating oil, and on gas oil. I'm expecting to see a decent rally here. In terms of the amount we've dropped, which is on Brent, basically from 96 to 77, I'm looking for a 50% rally. And possibly more. I'm also watching for possible reversal patterns. We've got some very, very small double bottoms, but these are very, very small. I'd be looking for a larger reversal pattern on the way back up. In terms of HO, nice looking at the level bottom. RBOB, which hasn't really been trading quite the same as the others and hasn't gone down as much relatively, hasn't quite retested this low here. I'm thinking that we've got a reversal pattern or two to form on oil on the way back up, but I am thinking that rally is likely starting. If we see retest the lows, which we might, well, ideally after a day or two's rally, then retest the lows, we can set up daily buy signals as well. Looking at NG, we've got a 60-minute sell signal fixed, and it looks like a retracement. This has actually been a pretty strong move up, and I'm interested to see whether it's got more legs on it. So watching this carefully. Ideally, for the bullish case, it holds the weekly pivot on this retrace, which is at 3.133. Looking at the metals, we've got a lot of negative divergence here. I've got also got a nice looking inverted head shoulders forming here. That could go a bit lower. But I'm slightly concerned about the number of sell signals I've seen form here on the hourly charts. We've got one on GC, we've got one on SI, we've got one on Palladium, we've got one forming on Platinum, and also actually on GDXJ and GDX on the hourly charts. So I am thinking we might see a larger retracement here. That could involve retests of the lows. If so, that could set up some very nice looking daily buy signals. HG, this has been trading with equities here. I think equities have got more upside coming, and I'm wondering about possible retest of the highs here on copper. Looking at KC, we've seen a very strong rally here, and I think chances are we're going to see more. So no current negative divergence at the moment. It's broken over the monthly pivot, which I didn't think it would break, and it's trying to convert that into support and might be successful. We shall see. Sugar. Drifting lower a bit. If that continues to be the case, then I'll be looking for a retest of this low here in the 1381 area. But we do have possible bottoming action and a fairly bullish looking short-term setup on the bigger picture charts. On CC, nice rally here. If this takes off, I am wondering about a possible retest of this high, but at the moment we've still got a head and shoulders, which is broken down, and that's not going to fail unless cocoa can get back over 45.70. So we will see. Hang on, where is that? Yeah, 45.70. Okay, lumber has gone higher than I expected, and I'm wondering if it might go higher still. I've got a nice looking resistance trend line above, possible resistance trend line above on the daily chart. On CT, nice break up over declining resistance, possible little inverted head and shoulders here. We've also got a 60-minute, possible 60-minute price sell signal brewing. Sorry, I'm not done correctly. Possible 60-minute sell signal brewing. ZW, nice rally, broke over double bottom resistance, and we've now got a target in the 628 to 630 range. No current negative divergence on corn. Broken up over declining resistance on soy. Not a double bottom here, really, so I'm still looking for a reversal pattern here. We wouldn't always get one, but we usually would. 60-minute sell signal is fixed. On ZL, we've broken down from a head and shoulders with a target in the 65.50 area. I am wondering if this is just going to reject back up into the highs. HE, live cattle. Head and shoulders broke down and failed, and I'm looking for a retest of this high here in the 251.50 area. On HE, possible bottoming action, 60-minute buy signal fixed. We shall see. We broke over this declining resistance, which was encouraging for the bulls. All right, great. Let's have a quick look at questions. No questions? In that case, I think that's a wrap. Everyone take care, and I will catch you guys tomorrow morning. All right, cheers.